looking at, as part of the live stream, the full deck review of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zombie Madness structure deck. This came out as a structure deck back in 2005, and it was paired alongside another one which was a dragon style. That was Dragon's Roar. Today we're going to be covering the full contents of this one. So for starters, as you can see, this deck combines a load of different zombie type monsters with featured cards including Vampire Genesis, which is the boss monster and the cover card, Dark Dust Spirit, which is a spirit monster, and Call of the Mummy. As part of this, it does suggest for you to look into having various other cards. So here to support, you'd have cards such as Hallowed Life Barrier from Soul of the Duelist, a Serial Spell from Rise of Destiny, Red Moon Baby, Tribute to the Doomed, Painful Choice and Premature Burial from Dark Beginning 1, and Fear from the Dark, Dark Core, Rope of Life and Judgment of Anubis from Dark Revelation Volume 1. Rope of Life is also made available as a promotional card in Structure Deck Deluxe Edition. So without further ado, we will have a look at what's to offer. Well, what's to be offered. So here we go, we've got Vampire Genesis. This one is the boss monster. And I personally did buy this structure deck all the way back in 2005, so I really enjoyed it. If this one is the boss monster, it is a 3000 attack monster, so it's not too bad. It's Dark Attribute Zombie type, level 8 with 3000 attack and 2100 defense. Its effect is it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by banishing one Vampire Lord you control, and it cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn, you can discard one zombie type monster to the graveyard, then target one zombie type monster in your graveyard with a level less than the discarded zombie type monsters, special summon that target. This card has a 3000 attack point, so it's decent as a zombie type beatstick, and I think at the time it was pretty much the most powerful zombie you could have. The condition on summoning it does require you to have a Vampire Lord already on the field. So that means, since Vampire Lord is a level 5, you will have most likely had to tribute over a monster to bring that out, and then banish it to bring this out. Since this is a special summon, this does mean that you can summon additionally within your turn, and it does help to build up your field, especially since, depending on whatever level monster you discard, you get to choose anything lower than it. One of the common examples I would give is Despair from the Dark. That's a 2800 attack, 3000 defense, level 8 monster. That would typically be discarded, and then you could perhaps special summon the Real Koki. The only concerns about this are that it's a very simplistic effect in that it's just summoning monsters to your field. If your opponent's able to actually wipe this card out in any ways, then that actually becomes the biggest issue for the deck. See what is the next one. So the next one is going to be Master Kyonshi. I'm just going to bring that up. Master Kyonshi. Is that how you spell it? I think that's it. And here we go. This is Master Kyonshi. It's an Earth Attribute Zombie type level 4 with 1750 attack and 1000 defense. Since it's a normal monster, it doesn't have any effects. It just has, as part of the flavor text, a wandering Kyonshi searching for a strong rival to defeat. They say he was known as the Master of Martial Arts. It's quite powerful for a zombie type monster, and even for a level 4, it's quite decent. And it's probably one of the highest attack monsters that they currently had at that time, considering zombies was one of the least supported types of within the series. So next we're going to be looking at Vampire Lord. And here we have Vampire Lord. It's a Dark Attribute Zombie type level 5 with 2000 attack and 1500 defense. Its effect is, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, declare one type of card, be it monster, spell, or trap. Your opponent sends one card of that type from their deck to the graveyard. Once per turn during your next standby phase, after this card in your possession was destroyed and sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. The benefits of this card are it's able to hopefully dismantle your opponent's deck if you're able to do any sort of battle damage, and depending on what your opponent is mostly running, you're going to want to get rid of some of their more powerful cards. So if they're running very powerful trap cards, that might be a direction you want to take. The concerns with doing this is it has to be done through battle damage, which means that you do have to use a battle phase. If your opponent has anything that stops a battle phase or negates this card's effect, or does anything to disrupt this card, then this becomes the issue for it. But the other benefit is it does get to revive itself if it happens to be destroyed by any sort of card effect. So ideally you want to get rid of this by battle. The next card we're going to be reviewing will be the Dark Dust Spirit. And here we are. It's an Earth Attribute Zombie type level 6 with 2200 attack and 1800 defense. It cannot be special summoned during the end phase of the turn this card is normal summoned or flipped face up. Return it to the hand. When this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, destroy all other face up monsters on the field. So the second this card is actually summoned, you're able to just wipe out all of your other face-up monsters on the field. They do include your own, so you do need to be careful of that. But considering that you're most likely going to have tributed over a monster to then bring this card out, you are most likely going to be able to just wipe out your opponent's cards rather than your own. Bear in mind it is all other face-up monsters, so if your opponent is running a defensive style of deck, this may be less effective. And the fact that this card goes back to your hand because it's a spirit monster means that it's going to be quite annoying to continually try and bring this card out, since it requires a tribute each turn. So the next one will be Pyramid Turtle. And this is Pyramid Turtle. It's an Earth Attribute Zombie type effect monster. It's got a level 4 with 1200 attack and 1400 defense. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one zombie monster with 2000 or less defense from your deck. There are plenty of targets within this deck that are actually quite usable. You can bring out the Vampire Lord. You could also bring out Ryokoki, which has 2400 attack points and 2000 defense points. You can consider it like Witch of the Black Forest, but it actually special summons from your deck to the field rather than searching it straight from the deck to the hand. It's better than quite a lot of cards because those have a limitation, for example with Mystic Tomato, of only being able to special summon monsters with 1500 or less attack. With this having a much higher defensive range on it, you have that ability to just target any zombie monsters. The limitation on this is it's specific to the zombie type, so unlike Mystic Tomato, which can special summon dark attribute monsters, this is specifically a typing and not an attribute, therefore it's much more limiting. So the next one we're looking at is Spirit Reaper. This is a dark attribute zombie type effect monster. It's level 3 with 300 attack and 200 defense. It requires its effect is it cannot be destroyed by battle. After resolving a card effect that targets this face-up card, destroy this card. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, discard one random card from their hand. This is particularly effective when you want to protect your life points, because at the time it was very difficult to get over this card. The disadvantage of this is if anything targets this card, be it a spell or trap or anything, even if it's not intended as a destruction type of effect, the disadvantage is this just self-destructs. So anything that targets it by card effect, it just instantly wipes us out. But if you can get in these direct attacks, you can slowly dismantle your opponent's hand and make it difficult for them to come back. Right, so I'm trying to find Despair from the Dark, so I'll see if there's an alternative way for me to get that. Despair from the Dark Yugioh. You guys probably know what the card is. I mean, it is pretty much a very standard fare type of card. There we go, I think I've found it. Just get the web page up. And here we go. Yeah, for some reason this one wasn't that searchable within the Yugioh organization within the fandom page. Anyway, it's a Dark Attribute Zombie type level 8 with 2,800 attack and 3,000 defense. When this card is sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you get to special summon this card. This can be quite useful if your opponent is running a very specific type of discard strategy, because actually it ends up summoning itself, and with this balanced stat line, it can be quite threatening to your opponent's monsters. This is an alternative boss monster to something like Vampire Genesis, as it doesn't really have too many conditions. I'd say the concern is that it has to be discarded by your opponent's card effect, and I'm always of the opinion that if you have to rely on your opponent to do something rather than you doing something, it's always worst case scenario for you. I do love the design of the card. I think it is quite powerful when it needs to be, but again, it's just an issue in that it's quite limiting. I love the fact that it's also, if it's been sent from the deck to the graveyard, because that still triggers off the effect. If you think of the continuous trap card, which is Robin Zombie, that helps to send a card every time your opponent inflicts damage to you from your deck, from the top of your deck to the graveyard. So it's a fantastic way of resolving the effect, and quite a surprise to your opponent. So next card we're going to be looking at is actually one of my favourites within the set. And the structure deck itself was quite useful for just bringing this card out. It was not difficult to achieve, and it's Ryokoki. This is a Dark Attribute Zombie type effect monster. It's level 6 with 2,400 attack and 2,000 defense. The effect is, at the end of the damage step, if this card battled a warrior or spellcaster type monster, destroy that monster. I'd argue that the effect of this card is less useful than the fact that it's a level 6 monster. Considering the stat lineup, it's the exact same lineup as something like Red Eyes Black Dragon. However, that's a level 7 monster that requires 2 tributes. This being a level 6, it requires only the 1. There are various ways of actually bringing this card out, including the continuous spell card, which allows you to special summon a zombie monster if you have no other monsters on your side of the field. In terms of its effect, it's just kind of a bonus if you are facing off against either a warrior style of deck or a spellcaster type of deck, especially if those monsters have some type of battle protection. Even if this just battles, it's able to use the effect. It would have been nice at the start of the damage step, that way it wouldn't have to fully engage in the battle, but this being at the end of the damage step means it is a lot weaker than it could have been. Right, so we're going to look for Soul Absorbing Bone Tower now. That's this one. This is Soul Absorbing Bone Tower. It's a Dark Attribute Zombie type level 3 with 400 attack and 1500 defense. The effect is, if you control another zombie type monster, your opponent cannot target this card for attacks. Each time a zombie type monster is special summoned, send the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. That's not a difficult effect to manage, considering that you are able to special summon zombie type monsters through Call of the Mummy, which is that continuous spell card I mentioned previously, or you also have Vampire Genesis. There are also things such as Book of Life, which is a specific version of almost like Monster Reborn for your zombie type monsters. This has the ability to protect itself so long as you've got another zombie monster on your field, so unless this effect gets negated, that's always a good idea. And I've seen strategies which have in the past enabled you to, for example, deck your opponent out using this. It does require quite a few special summons, and when zombies originally came out, this wasn't that useful a type of ability, but now with things such as Baladruk and so many other zombie types of support, even Vendreads can actually special summon themselves from the graveyard. Even, for example, for ritual summoning, for Revendread Slayer, there are so many ways of getting your opponent to lose some of their best cards. The next card we'll be looking at will be the Vampire Lady. And here we are. This is Vampire Lady. It's a Dark Attribute Zombie type level 4 with 1550 attack and defense. The effect is, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, declare one card type, monster, spell, or trap. Your opponent sends one card of that type from their deck to the graveyard. This has the same effect as Vampire Lord, the only difference is this is a level 4, and it doesn't have that revival part of the effect. It's also weaker in terms of its attack points. It's 450 less. Vampire Lord's 2000, this is 1550. This was used by Camilla in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX season, I think it was season 1. She was one of the Shadow Riders, she was the second one, and whereas this one was the zombie and vampire specialist. She used Vampire Lord and she used Vampire Genesis as well as there was a couple of cards that were shown that have never actually had an official release. This was her kind of go-to signature basic card. The next card we'll be focusing on is Double Costin. So this is Double Costin. It's a Dark Attribute Zombie type effect monster. It's level 4 with 1700 attack and 1650 defense. This card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a Dark Attribute monster. There is the equivalent for each and every attribute out there. You've got Trojan Horse, there is Flame, which is for Earth attributes. You've got Flame Ruler, which is for Fire attribute, obviously, Flame Ruler, duh. You've got the Unshaven Angler, which is for water attributes. You have, that's testing me now, Kaiser Seahorse, which is for light attributes. and you have Whirlwind Prodigy, which is the wind attribute equivalent. So considering that most dark attributes are found as zombie types, it's very easy to understand why this card came out in the first place. I do possess several copies of that card. It's personally one of my favourites. I just love the design of it, and it just looks like two ghosts kind of playing with each other. The next one we're focusing on will be the Regenerating Mummy. Regenerating Mummy. And here we are. This is a dark attribute zombie type level 4 with 1800 attack and 1500 defense. The effect is when this card is sent from your hand to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can return this card to the hand. I never, as a kid, when I first had this, I mean, back in 2005, I would have been 13 years old. I never understood the value of this card. I suppose at that time, it was all about, you know, how likely is your opponent going to send the card from your hand to the graveyard to actually trigger off this effect. And the other concern was, it's just returning it to the hand. It's not even that, it's summoning it to the field. So where exactly is the benefit? I just get very confused about what its relevance actually is. It would be fine if it was actually stronger in terms of attack or something that could end up special summoning itself, but you could just normal summon this card at any point, and it's just a basic beat stick 1800 attack monster. Now here is where we're getting into kind of like the meat of the deck and some of the more powerful cards that you can obtain. So we start off with Snatch Deal. This is an equipped spell card. The effect is equip only to a monster your opponent controls. Take control of the equipped monster. During each of your opponent's standby phases, they gain 1000 life points. The purpose of this card is you're just able to take any of your opponent's monsters, and that means you can either use those against your opponent if they happen to be powerful ones, or you can then tribute off those monsters if you don't want to give those extra 1000 life points per turn to your opponent, to bring out something like your Ryokoki, which is level 6, or your Vampire Lord, which is a level 5. Those are the basic interactions within this deck. It can also be used to help you summon into Despair from the Dark, but ideally, you know, you go into one of the other cards which requires less investment. Of course, like any deck, what would it be without having a copy of Mystical Space Typhoon? I mean, it's a basic standard play. It's a quick play spell card which says target one spell or trap card on the field and destroy that target. You can choose either yours or your opponent's cards, and it can be responded during your opponent's turn, which means that you're able to do a lot more damage, especially if they're trying to get rid of this card and they don't know that this is in the back row. This next card is actually one that was used by Camula as well I think this was used against Zane Truesdale. This was also used against Jaden Yuki. I don't know whether this was used actually against Crowler. If anyone knows, I'd love for you guys to put that in the comments. Anyway, this one says that you return all spell and trap cards on the field to the hand. The beauty of this card is it doesn't necessarily destroy them, so actually it's not as good as Heavy Storm, but if you already have, for example, your main setup ready to go and you want to go into the battle phase, at least you're not facing down something like a Mirror Force. Nobleman of Crossout, where are you? For some reason it does not like to say where you are, so I'm going to have to kind of search this up here. Nobleman of Crossout, Yugioh. And here we go, here is Nobleman of Crossout. This is a normal spell card with the effect, target one face down monster on the field, destroy that target. And if you do, banish it. Then if it was a flip monster, each player reveals their main deck, then banish all cards from it with that monster's name. This is a powerful card, especially if you just want to blanket get rid of one of your opponent's cards without them being able to use any of those monsters' effects. If it happens to be a flip monster, you then get the additional bonus of being able to scrap any other copies of it from your opponent's deck. My only concern with this card is it does banish, and, you know, potentially that's actually a usable effect, but it does take up room in your main deck, which might be more useful for other cards which have more of an impact, especially now. In the past, 2005, when this card came out, as part of the structure deck, it's perfectly usable and perfectly fine to rely on. As part of the staple cards, you obviously had to receive Pot of Greed. This is a normal spell card, which allows you just to draw 2 cards. It's used in plenty of duels between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Before, obviously, it can't be used because of the banning, so it wasn't actually seen within the anime. It's a decent card, but I don't think it'll ever come off any particular ban list. Let's try and find Card of Safe Return. Card of Safe Return. And here we go. This is Card of Safe Return. It's a continuous spell card with the effect when a monster is special summoned from your graveyard, you can draw 1 card. Since lots of zombie type monsters happen to have this effect of being able to be returned from the graveyard to the field, especially with cards such as Book of Tayo, the Book of Life, this means you're constantly being able to draw into additional cards. This is not a once per turn effect, which is why it has been banned, and I doubt it's likely to come back. If it does come back, it would have to come back at 1, or it would need an errata which said this effect can only be used once per turn. And of course, like most decks, we have Heavy Storm. This is a normal spell card, which just says to destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. The benefit of this is you're going to be using this at a point where your opponent has more spell and trap cards in their back row than you are. Remember, since it destroys all spell and trap cards, that means that will include your own, and ideally you don't really want to be destroying your own unless they have graveyard style of effects. It's very useful and has in the past been banned and very limited to how you can use it. Creature Swap is a normal spell card with the effect each player chooses 1 monster they control and switches control of those monsters with each other. Those monsters cannot change their battle positions for the rest of this turn. This can be a useful effect if used correctly. The best way you can do this is to ensure that you and your opponent only have 1 monster on your fields each. That way you're forced to specifically swap those monsters around. If your opponent has more than 1 monster on the field, the concern is that you're swapping a monster and they'll choose the weaker of their 2 or more monsters to then swap over. That way you're not getting the full effect. Ideally, this is quite decent, but again, this needs additional setup before it can be effective. It also has limitations that those monsters cannot change their battle positions for the rest of this turn. So if you happen to take one of your opponent's monsters, be it a weak one, the concern is you can't then change it into, for example, defense mode for you to protect your life points. Right, so I'm going to find for you Book of Life. And here we have Book of Life. This is a normal spell card with the effect target 1 zombie type monster in your graveyard and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon the first target, also banish the second target. So the purpose of this is in your zombie type deck, you're able to then revive any of the zombies you've got in your graveyard, and you're able to then banish whatever monster you happen to have targeted from your opponent's graveyard. This means most likely your opponent isn't going to be able to access those cards unless they have something, for example, like Miracle Dig, or any equivalents that help to, I think Burial from a different dimension helps to take up to 3 monsters from your banish pile and actually send them back to your graveyard. So that's an alternative that they can use, but for the most part it's not useful. Also keep in mind that this bit of the text has actually changed. I can't remember specifically when the wording for remove from play was changed to banish, but it has been at least a couple of years. Remove from play used to be the old term, and that was what this card was associated with. It means the same thing. For some reason I can't find Call of the Mummy on here, so that's quite irritating. I'm sure I can find it normally anyway. Call of the Mummy Yu-Gi-Oh! Just bring that up. This is the continuous spell card that I mentioned before, which allows you to then special summon zombie-type monsters. This effect is once per turn, you can special summon a zombie monster from your hand. You must control no monsters to activate and to resolve this effect. It is useful for bringing out Despair from the Dark as a free summon. You don't need the 2 tributes for Ryokoki, even for other monsters, so long as you don't have any restrictions. So for example, if they say, so long as they don't say cannot be normal summoned or set, or they have to be summoned in a very special way, this card can work with most zombie type monsters. It's useful for getting your field advantage, and since this doesn't eat up on your normal summon, you're then able to summon again with something else. Reload is a quick play spell card with the effect add all cards in your hand to your deck and shuffle it, then draw the same number of cards that you added to your deck. This is the same as Magical Mallet, however this can be better, because since this is a quick play spell card, this can be activated during yours or your opponent's turn. It's more useful now than it used to be because there are monsters that have hand trap style of effects, and those effects can sometimes be triggered off during your opponent's turn, so that's actually more effective. Whereas within the precedence of when this card was released in 2005, this really didn't have any relevance. I mean, it wasn't useful at all. It was okay if you had a very bricked hand, which some of the zombie types of support can give you. I mean, you've just seen some of the examples of the monsters you've got. You've got a level 8, a level 6, there's 2 level 6, there's a level 5, and another level 8. So you are looking about 5 or 6 mini to maximum style boss monsters, which are quite difficult to bring out in and of themselves without having specific cards on the field. Dust Tornado is a normal trap card with the effect target one spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy that target, then you can set one spell or trap card from your hand. This is very similar to Mystical Space Typhoon, however this cannot be activated considering that it's a trap card until your opponent's turn. Basically you need to wait until the shifting of your turn to your opponent's turn. This does have the benefit, however, of then setting one of your spell traps from your hand, which means if you are setting a trap, you can then use it during your turn, or the same with a quick play spell card, or you can just set a dud card or something if, for example, your opponent then has something like a Spirit Reaper that is going to target something in your hand. By setting the card first, it can no longer target that specific card because it's no longer in your hand. Torrential Tribute. This is Torrential Tribute. This is a normal spell trap card with the effect when a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Notice it says when it's summoned, and the fact that it's got monster/monsters in its text. This means if a monster is normal summoned, special summoned, flip summoned, any type of summoning, it can be activated. This can also affect both you and your opponent, so it can be in response to when your opponent does any summoning or when you do any summoning. If you do it from your end and you just summon into one monster that's particularly weak and your opponent has quite a few stronger monsters on the field or heavily resource monsters, it's a good way of wiping out their resources. This again is more useful back in 2005, in which most monsters don't have protection from trap style of effects or destruction based effects, and it's less viable now. In the past, this has been banned and it has been on rotations of being restricted. It has now been, I think, set to 3, and that's only because, well, it's no longer as useful as it used to be. There are so many cards that have their own forms of protection. There's no reason to have this banned. So the next card we have is called Magic Jammer. This is a counter trap card with the effect when a spell card is activated, discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This is very effective as a counter trap, and it's one of the basic first versions of spell negation, in that just by discarding any card you have, it doesn't have to be any specific one, you're just able to shut down one of the opponent's speller cards. It can be also yours, but I don't understand why you do that. By negating and destroying the card, if it happens to have been a continuous spell card, at least that guarantees it goes to the graveyard and not remain on your opponent's field. So the next card we're going to be looking at is going to be Reckless Greed. I think most people are familiar with this card. It is becoming a lot more popular in its use, and it's very viable as an alternative for Post Greed. It's a normal trap card with the effect draw 2 cards and skip your next 2 draw phases. The emphasis is that you're basically getting those 2 draw phases immediately through this effect. It does come at the downside if your opponent is able to beat over your strategy. You are then unable to draw for 2 turns, and in all likelihood those 2 turns your opponent will then beat over you, which can be very concerning. And in this, we also have compulsory evacuation device. The purpose of this card is it's a normal trap card, and its effect is target one monster on the field, return that target to the hand. This is actually becoming more useful and more of a stable card that's used within a lot more decks. The reason is, with a lot of extra deck monsters and the heavy investment they require, by simply sending those monsters back to their extra deck, which still counts as, return them to the hand, it doesn't negate that style of effect. It means that your opponent's going to get quite angry when you use this. This has no requirement on you. It can be used on your monsters or your opponents. So if you're smart and you've got a strategy where a particular monster has a normal summon effect, can only be used when it's normal summoned, it's a good way of returning that card back to your hand and then resummoning it on the next turn to trigger off that normal summon effect. Either way, it's quite useful and it's definitely worth running. I'm actually going to do something quite interesting here. I'm quite curious to see how this happens to work in terms of the Yu-Gi-Oh market prices. I really want to see how these are going in terms of pricing, the Yu-Gi-Oh card market. So this is basically the card market in accordance with basic trends throughout Europe. I'm recently going for Europe because, I'm actually in the UK, so it makes sense to go for the European market. And I'm actually going to find out what the prices on some of these cards are going to be. So here we are, we're on Yugioh Market, and we'll be going through basically the price breakdown on these cards. So we'll look at, first of all, Vampire Genesis. So Vampire Genesis. And it has three options here. I'm guessing we want the SD2. I'm going to have a quick look just to see. Yeah, this is the SD2. For anyone who isn't aware, they all have codes aligning to sets. And the reason they have these codes is it's specific both to the structure deck and the card type that it exists as. So SD2 is the code type for this structure deck. Okay, so that's quite interesting. It says here, I'll just move my thing down a bit so you guys can see that it's available as 645 items. So that's currently what the market's worth. And the price trend, it comes anywhere from, that's 2 cents in Europe. That's European currency. In euros, and price trend is it has a max price at €1.35. The price trend on it is 99 cents, is kind of like the average over the last month. So anywhere from the 22nd of November to the 22nd of December, as I'm doing this live stream, that's what it's based at. It's got a 7-day average price of €1.38, which is, I don't understand why, and an average day price of 60 cents. That's quite interesting, actually. So here we've got the spiking on the prices, and we have quite an unusual trend here. For whatever reason, this kind of shows you when it was sold, and as you can see here, if you look at it, I mean, it spiked for whatever reason. Someone's purchased it at €3.89. I don't know whether it's some sort of early Christmas present. It's definitely not worth that price. You can get really, really low. I've got a copy of this. It's probably quite difficult to get now, considering how old it is and how old the structure deck is, but definitely not worth that price. I would not suggest going for it. You can find so many multiple copies of it, even if you don't get the structure deck. As you can see, there's quite a few operators here, so you've got anywhere from, as the market goes, you've got anywhere from the 2 cents as mentioned, and then you've got You've got so many results that it's not even worth me actually looking. As you saw, the 135 is, I think, the current highest price. So that's the highest market price that a trader is currently selling this, well, prepared to sell this at. Whether it actually goes at that price, I strictly don't think so. So the next one we have is Master Kyonshi. Kyonshi. So that's it, and that's SD2. Yeah, so this one is also quite interesting. Since it's a normal monster, it doesn't attract the same level of investment. I think Vampire Genesis got the levels that it did because it's the boss monster and it's the rarity on printing. I think it's like an ultra rare. This is just like a common card, and as you can see, there are 482 listings. The price trend is anywhere. Base price is 2 cents. Price trend 14 cents is kind of, you're looking at the highest point. 30-day average over this point is 14 cents as well. 7-day rolling average is 12 cents and 9 cents for the 1-day average. The highest price this is sold at was on the 23rd of September at 50 cents. So someone's kind of been ripped off there. I mean, you could have got it for 2 cents. Unless it's brand new, it's just not worth getting it at that price. Okay. The next card will be Vampire Lord. SD2, that's it, SD2. And here we have, there are 355 listings for this one. And again, it's coming down to as low as 2 cents. And the highest price trend is for 13 cents. I am a little surprised at that it's trading for as low. Just because it's a key feature of the structure deck, and it's definitely one you want. Here it says it's price trend 13 cents. That's fine. 30-day average is 18 cents, so over the 30 days, somehow it's gotten to that point. 7-day rolling is 16, and 1-day average price, someone's bought it at 25 cents. Here, as you can see, the high is on the 18th of September. Someone bought it off the market at €1.03. Yeah, again, if it's high rarity, maybe it's worth it, but most people aren't going with this particular card. It's not that impressive. It's just kind of one of the more viable ones out of the set. So the next one we're going to look at is Dark Dust Spirit. SD2, yep, that's the one. And this has 392 listings. It's starting at 2 cents at the lowest. Price trend is up to 43 cents. Nothing really to say about that. It's not particularly strong. I suppose if it's one of the near mint conditions, then maybe it might be worth that 43 as a base rate. 30-day average 25 cents, 7-day average 20 cents, and 1-day average it spiked a little at 8 cents. Its highest point selling on this market was on the 25th of November at €1.33. Definitely not worth the price. Again, these markets are dependent on who buys them, so if someone has bought it at this price, most likely it's been sold as an average price. Maybe only 1 or 2 copies had been sold within the day. If that's the case, that will be the reason why this is kind of inflated as such. And it also explains why these are as low as they are. So we're going to look at Pyramid Turtle here, and that's SD2. This has actually a lot of available listings. It's got 1,207. I think that's the highest number of listings we've seen so far. Lowest rate at 2 cents. and highest is at 15 cents, with an average on 30 days at 13 cents, 7 days at 21 cents, and a rolling day average of 15 cents. On this, the highest pricing day was the 19th of November at 39 cents. So that's kind of at the highest end you're looking at. Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper has 141 listings on this, with the lowest offering at 2 cents and the highest at €1.09. Average 30 days is 88 cents, 7 days is 72 cents, and the 1 day is at 55 cents. The highest selling day was on the 25th of November at €3.49, so I'm guessing this must have been... I'm a bit surprised it's gotten that high. Someone has clearly got the money to be spending on this, which I would not advise you guys doing. Right, so Despair from the Dark. SD2. This one has, well, I can understand why it's as limited as it is in terms of pricing. It's quite difficult to get out in terms of its effect without using something like Call of the Mummy. This has 846 listings starting from 2 cents up to 11 cents, and the 30 days is an average of 12 cents, 7 days is 12 cents, and the 1 day average is 25 cents. Highest day was on the 27th of November at 50 cents. Not much to say about that one. It's just not worth getting it at 50 cents. I'm sure you can get a decent copy that hasn't been mangled for a bit cheaper than that. Real Cookie. ST2, and this is going to be... Okay, so on this one you have 790 listings, and it starts off at 2 cents. Price trend is 16 cents as kind of like the max. You're looking at a 30-day average of 13 cents, 7-day average of 10, and a 1-day average of 14. If we go up quickly, the biggest day for it was on the 7th of December at 63 cents. Again, I can understand why they've gone for it, because it's quite usable as a beatstick zombie type monster. And actually there has been some zombie type support, and forever there seems to be additional zombie archetypes, so at some point this card might become more viable and there might be some type of price spike on it. Soul Absorbing Bone Tower. SD2, yeah, that's it. Okay, so this has 591 listings on this. It's anywhere from 2 cents to 29 cents is the price trend. 30-day average is 36 cents, 7-day average 25 cents, and 1-day average is 50 cents. Now, if you're wondering why the average price on a 1 day is higher than either of the other two, it's simply because it's 1 day. Any 1 day, someone might have just particularly decided to buy up that card for whatever reason, and that's why this has happened. The highest price was on the 20th of November at 99 cents. It's a bit on the expensive side since it's not a high rarity card. I definitely think you're better off just getting any of the cheap staples. It's not worth that price unless you're running a very specific type of deck out style of deck. Okay, so we have a Vampire Lady here, and it's got 377 listings. The price is anywhere from 2 cents to 13 cents is the price trend. 30-day average is 15 cents, 7-day average is 17, and the 1-day average is 8 cents. This had its highest kind of selling rate on average on the 12th of October, the 41 cents. I suppose it coming close to Halloween, if someone wanted to build a specific type of zombie deck, maybe that's why they actually got into this card. But maybe it's also the aesthetic thing, because it's like a lady. It's, you know, some people have that kind of weird kind of attraction to these types of things, so perhaps that's also a reason. SD2 is double Coston. Okay, so this has 363 listings. It starts off at 2 cents with a price trend of 12 cents. 30-day average is 13 cents. 7-day average is 10 cents. And the 1-day average is 7 cents. This had a spike on the 11th of November at 50 cents. I don't see that necessarily being a bad thing. It's usable within any Dark Attribute deck. I mean, if you are just substituting it for 2 tributes, it's never going to be, you know, not useful. It's just, I question whether 50 cents is justifiable enough for it. So here we have Regenerating Mummy. There's 976 listings. This has 2 cents attached to it. Price trend of 6 cents. 30-day average price is 9 cents. 7 days is 5 and 1 day is 2. The highest rate was on the 19th of October, and this was 39 cents. I don't think that's too bad, 39 cents. If you look at any of the equivalents, most people are going to be, you know, in small stores, or even some of the online ones will be trading at equivalent prices. Snatch Steal has 220 items available in here. Price trend is anywhere from 2 cents, and the trend itself is 54 cents. 30-day average price is 69 cents, with 7-day at 41, and a day price of 8 cents. There's actually 2 points where it kind of spikes, but the highest point is here on the 9th of November, and this is €2.28, so someone must have bought one of the higher rarity or the less damaged versions. That's the only way I can kind of understand why this is actually spiked in price. So Mystical Space Typhoon, I'm just going to have to show all the results on here. Because there are quite a few. Mystical Space Typhoon being one of those cards that just reprints all the time. I'm just trying to find exactly the SD2 version, which is for this structure deck. So you've got SD4 there. See if SD2 is there. That's it. Okay, so this has it has 459 versions available. Its price trend is for 2 cents. The trend is about 4 cents. 30-day average of 13 cents, 7 days at 8 cents, and 1 day at 9 cents. I can understand that most people have multiple copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. I think I have more than 10, just because I've been collecting for so long, so I can understand why this is the pricing it is. It is what it is. This did have a height of on the 17th of September at €1.03. Again, I really don't understand this. It's been one of the most reprinted staple cards you can get out there, and there are much better versions of trying to achieve the same thing, just more effectively. Giant Trunade, SD2, there you go. Just at the end there. So there are 325 of these available at 2 cents. The price trend is 31 cents, so this is what it's usually kind of retailing at. 30-day average is 29 cents, the 7-day is at 44 cents, and the 1-day is at 40 cents. The highest price on this is on the 22nd of October at 94 cents, which is fine, but I think, again, as you saw when I was just typing this in, there are 27 different versions of listings. This means this has been reprinted 26 times. There are more than enough copies. I probably have, similar to Mystical Space Typhoon, probably more than 10 copies of this card from all sorts of different sets. Okay, so we've got Nobleman of Crossout. That's not the version that I want on here, so we'll have to look for this. SD2, there you go. There's 333 available items on this one. It does go from 2 cents as a starting point. Price trend is 23 cents. 30-day average is 25 cents. 7 days at 20 and 1 day at 10 cents. This spiked on the 15th of November at 50 cents. Arguably they've gone a bit too expensive on this. I have multiple copies of this version of card and just it's not viable as a strategy. Similarly, this went actually on the 31st of October for 49 cents, so maybe 2 people bought at kind of the same pricing. Here we have Pot of Greed. There's 391 available items, and it goes anywhere from 19 cents. That kind of makes sense, as at some point maybe people are hedging their bets. They'll think perhaps people will start accessing this card, or this might become like you can use one of them. The price trend is €1.50, so this is actually one of the most expensive ones we've covered so far. 30-day average of €1.35, 7-day average of €1.45, and a 1-day average price of €1.16. This, at its height here, was sold on the 10th of December, so at the time I'm doing this live stream, about 12 days ago, at €3.90. I'm hoping that person's got a pretty much pristine version. Otherwise, I just don't think that is worth running. You can get so many different copies of this card, it's just not worth spending that much money, especially since Konami hasn't really mentioned anything about unbanning it. Card of Safe Return, so the top one is the one we want. This has 269 listings and it's anywhere from 2 cents starting price. Price trend is 19 cents, so that's fine. Since it's a banned card, no one's really wanting to pick that up. It does have a 30-day average price of 27 cents, 32 cents as a 7-day cycle, and a 1-day cycle of 39 cents. This has at its highest over the last basically 2 months, been on the 5th of November at 95 cents. Arguably, I'm guessing that person's kind of hedging their bets that this card will be unbanned at some point. But we're kind of waiting to see whether that's actually going to be viable or not. So here we have Heavy Storm. There are 247 of these available, anywhere from 2 cents. And the price trend is usually around the 34 cents mark. 30-day average of 42 cents, 7-day average of 56 cents, and 1-day average of 15 cents. This received its highest attention on the 19th of December, which was actually only 3 days ago, at €1.38. This is not worth that price at all. It's just not viable. Just don't do it. For your own sanity, please, I'd advise not to. You can get so many copies of this, and we don't know when this card is going to be allowed back at full power, or even if this is going to be allowed without some type of restrictions on it. Creature swap there's 861 of these available at the moment, anywhere from 2 cents, and the price trend is 23 cents. 30-day average is 17 cents, 7-day average is 22 cents, and the 1-day average price is 39 cents. So as you're looking at this, the highest point, this one has 2 actually. It has on the 31st of October at 49 cents, and also on the 17th of November at 49 cents. I'm guessing 2 people in particular just wanted that card. I can't imagine someone's bought it for like £1, like €1, and then someone else has bought it for like 25 cents to kind of meet in the middle type of thing. I'm just thinking on these 2 days, it just happened to be someone's just bought this card at that price. I would assume that's going to be at the mint rarity or near mint rarity to be, acceptable at that price. This is another one of those cards I do have plenty of, so it's just not something I'd consider to be worth getting. It's not that, it's just not viable. I just get really confused about how some people can want to spend this. Although saying that, I have spent a lot on a particular few cards that I thought were going to be money cards, and they turned out to be kind of duds. But I'll tell you guys that in maybe another story at some other point. Okay, so Book of Life. This one has 631 items available. Price trend is anywhere from 2 cents, and it's trending at 23 cents. 30-day average of 20 cents, 7-day average of 17 cents, and a daily average of 15 cents. Over the last, this is basically 6 weeks worth of data. Its highest was on the 8th of December, so that was about 2 weeks ago, at 90 cents. Pricing wise, I can kind of understand why you'd want it, because there is constantly zombie type support coming out of, and Konami's very good at now giving zombie based support, so I can understand why you'd want to be looking at that. It's just, I might not be going as high as that. I'd be looking more around the 50 cents. If you're getting multiple, maybe getting at 50, 60 cents each. That's justified. Okay, so this one we have 1,564 copies of Call of the Mummy. Anywhere from the price of 2 cents, and the price trend is very low. It's 5 cents. 30-day average of 7 cents, 7-day average of 7 cents, and 1-day average of 2 cents. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's very specifically zombie-based support, or that you can actually only use its effect so many times, so maybe people aren't going to need like 3 copies of this. They might run 1 to 2 to avoid bricking your hand. The highest price on this was on the 29th of October, so ironically just a couple of days before Halloween, at 39 cents. So we'll look at reload. Where are you? SD2? No, there's no... yeah, as you can see, there's about 60 options, so I'm going to have to try and find where SD2 is for the structure deck. SD2 is down there. I think because some of it, since it links some of the text, it kind of looks as like Borrowload Savage Dragon as well, so that's why there's so many entries. There's probably not there's not 60 different reprints on this card. There are 876 available items here, and it says that they're from 2 cents. The average price trend is 11 cents, with 30-day average of 12 cents, 7-day average of 16 cents, and the 1-day average of 7 cents. The highest pricing was on the 12th of October at 45 cents. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing because it's not specific to the zombie archetypes. It can be run in any type of deck, so it has general usability. So this is one of those cases I can agree with the market that it's fine to be adding at, but easily you can get this card at much cheaper prices than that. Alright, so there are quite a few entries here. So you got SD4, SD3, where are you? SD2. This one here is going at, there's 392 options available. Again, it seems to be from 2 cents. Price trend is only rating at 11 cents, so this is roughly what it's kind of going at the moment. 30-day average of 17 cents, 7-day average of 15 cents, and 1-day average of 9 cents. It's spiking at a couple of points. Yeah, there's 3 points at 49 cents. So you've got the 27th of September. You have the 31st of October, so Halloween. And you have the 23rd of November. I think someone must have been in the market for Dust Tornadoes for it to be at that price. It's just not worth running for that. You can get much better versions for much cheaper and better alternatives. A torrential tribute. Okay, so here we have 351 copies, and the lowest price is at 2 cents. The average pricing trend is at the 33 cents mark, with a 30-day average of 40 cents, 7-day average of 50 cents, and a 1-day average of 37 cents. I can understand this because it's another one of those generic cards. It can be run in any deck, but most people will have multiple copies of this, and even newer players probably have at least 1 or 2 picked up. Its highest price was on the 9th of October at €1.45. I don't think I'd get it at that price. I'd maybe looking at €1 at possible, and that would be more for local play rather than any sort of extreme like tournament style play, because it's definitely not going to be viable at that stage. You know, at that point it's just not going to be worth even looking at it. You'll be kind of laughed out of the arena. Magic Jammer, Magic Jammer, Magic Jammer. Where is SD2? SD2 is, you're down there. So the rarity on this isn't that high, so there are 454 available items, anywhere from 2 cents as a starting rate, 20 cents is the price trending at the moment, 30-day average price is 19 cents, 7-day average is 26 cents, and a 1-day average of 14 cents. The highest has gone since, this is going all the way back to July, so you are looking at a 5-month period of 50 cents on the 31st of July this year. 50 cents I think is actually too bad. Magic Cylinder can be usable in any style of deck, so it's not something I'd actually consider to be too bad as a price point. There's another point which was similar, it's 45 cents on the 4th of October this year. We have Reckless Greed. So here we have Reckless Greed. There are 691 of those copies available. It starts at 2 cents, and the price trend is for 20 cents. 30-day average is 15 cents. 7-day average of 13 cents, and for whatever reason, someone has bought it very recently at 70 cents. Let me have a look. Yeah, this was 3 days ago, bought at 70 cents, so it's taking for this 1-day average as the most extreme price, and I don't think that's too bad. If you don't have any copies of Reckless Greed, maybe people are picking those up for tournaments, since you now have physical gameplay as well as the remote duels. So I don't necessarily blame them for buying at this point. I just have multiple copies, and I would therefore not require them. We have the compulsory evacuation device here. There are 1,315 copies of this card, starting from 2 cents. The price trend is 18 cents. The 30-day average is 20 cents. We have 7 days average of 21 cents, and of the 1 day at 31 cents. This is spiked in terms of its income and generation of on the 15th of December at 69 cents. I don't see this as too bad of a problem. 69 cents is viable and useful considering how useful this card can be. It's definitely something I wouldn't sleep on. I do think running multiple of these, even though I have these cards, is not too much of a concern. I would recommend probably trying to get this at like a bulk discount, because you can potentially run up to 3 of these if you want to, and definitely worth some type of investment into this specific deck. Yeah, definitely a shot. Definitely go for it if you want to. So what do you guys think of these, the zombie archetype? For me, I love the structure deck. I think it was a particularly nice one. Zombie Madness isn't too powerful as an overall deck, but you know, as a starter for a brand new duelist, it's worth considering. It's not too expensive. I mean, you know what, I'm gonna actually have a look at the unfortunate thing is, because of how long ago it was run, it's probably going to end up being cheaper for you to buy the singles of everything than it is to get the confirmed box itself. You know, getting the entire structure deck is not going to be that effective, and yeah, you just don't want to be going there, I don't think. I do think that was quite a good idea. You know what I'm going to do now? I am going to go straight onto... I think we're going to go straight onto Master Duel. I'm going to have a quick look on Yugioh Organization, see if there's anything else, any sort of new... any news, just to see if there's anything I want to quickly discuss with you guys. If not, we'll just jump straight into Master Duel. Yeah, I think we're going to just go into Master Duel, so I'm just going to set that up now. I don't know whether we're going to be playing zombies, because I don't technically have the requirements on the deck. for this particular deck anyway, but right, so we'll get rid of those. Just waiting for the just for it to load. But what do you guys think of Master Duel? Is that something you are enjoying at the moment? Is that something you continue to enjoy, or are you getting quite bored? Are you having the same issues as I am, where you need multiple levels of gems just to be able to play? Or are you actually happy with how things are? As always, I'd love to hear your feedback on these live streams, just to get more of an engagement with my audience, and to see just where you guys are, whether you're happy with the content. I'm doing a mixture of content now these days. I am doing posts more frequently. It's more of a thing I like to do if I don't have too much time on my hands, and it's just something quick. I try and aim to have like one of those out every day or 2 days. Shorts, I have done a couple of shorts. They're not very good shorts, but again, I'm trying my best with it. I'm a bit janky with when it comes to mobile phone technology anyway, so they're not going to be the best looking shorts. Playlists, I haven't really done playlists, so it's something I am looking at. I do a lot of the video on demand types of, well, those types of videos are my preference. They tend to be the most common. You'll see I have more than 2,000 of those currently on the channel, and I don't have too many lives. I think I have about 7 or 8, and the last one before this was an Easter stream I did. It wasn't this April that's just gone, it was the previous April. I don't necessarily like doing that. I'd rather have some consistency on the channel, so ideally we'll be getting back to that and having a little bit more consistency kind of going forward. But as you can see, I am just loading up the Yugioh Master Duel. I don't think, like I said, I have the requirements for the zombie deck, so interestingly, I am going to probably be playing one of my favourite decks. It's Super Heavy Samurais. Why do I like Super Heavy Samurai? It's just because it's got quite a diverse range of kind of effects. It's also one of the decks I tend to understand better, and so it's worth kind of running more frequently. I usually do my Master Duel content as like video on demand. You'll see frequently like clips, which is what I do. But as you can see, I'm going to be doing this as a live stream, and hopefully in the future I will be doing more live streams. First thing to do, I'm just going to collect the, I think these are just the gems I get normally that I've been missing. So yeah, I've got the login gems. And they have, I think they finished the, yeah, they finished this Duelist Cup here. Time to receive your rewards. Okay. Yeah, so that's ended. So I'm going to try and go into ranked. And I've got Chrono Forces here, which is the Chronomaly archetype. I'm going to see, you know what, we'll try Chrono Forces. What do you guys think of the Chronomaly archetype? It's personally one of those I do like to run. I'm not too consistent with it. I know there are a variety of different steps you can take for it, but it's not necessarily always the best thing to do. I'm going to go second. I think this deck prefers to run second. It doesn't have as much of a burn strategy. You have a couple of monsters that can do some things. For example, I think Match and Mech has the ability to do burn damage, but none of the others really have that as part of their effects. I've drawn quite badly this time. I've drawn into the level 5 and none of the other Chronomaly monsters, so yikes. Yeah, this is not looking good. Yeah, unless I get a monster out, I am kind of looking at instant defeat here. Okay, so you've got the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Yeah, he's going to be going into the Phantom Knights cards. Okay, so you've got Cherubini here, so that is the, what do you call it? Okay, so the Phantom Knights is there as well. These are a very specific type of deck. Yeah, Burning Mist, that's it. I was waiting, I couldn't remember what they were called. Okay, so you've got this one coming out, the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. So they've got the Fog Blade, which they set. I hate Fog Blade. It's just one of those really annoying cards to have to deal with. The ability to then stop your monster and then to negate their effects. So we've got Rusty Bardiche. That is the Link monster for the Phantom Knights. You then are going into what we're going into. Verde Anaconda. I'm guessing they're going into is that? Yes, DPE. Yes. Yeah, that is going to be a problem for me. I think I've lost already. Yeah, DPE is not a good idea. And I've drawn into quite a useless card. So destroy a Phoenix Enforcer on the field. There isn't too much I can do about that. I just have to kind of just play Raigeki and that's it. Yeah, and my opponent just changed that effect. The reason is they can just send this card to the graveyard, and it doesn't really destroy anything, it just, it essentially, well, my card just has no targets. So that's a lightning bolt that missed the opponent. I'll set my Ring of Destruction, and I have to end my turn there. Summons their Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. I'm just going to trigger off this effect anyway. I know it's not going to work. My opponent in this case, obviously they're going to be reviving their DPE next turn. Again, there's nothing I can really do, but it is what it is. They're going to banish their Malicious, so they can summon another Malicious to the field. And they're going to use their Denier and then revive that. They're recovering their Malicious. And they're banishing their Silent Boots to get their second copy of Fog Blade. my opponent's just going in for a straightforward attack. So there's 1900 damage. I think I've built the deck quite badly for this Konami deck anyway, so I'm going to need to revisit this. It's a very clunky style of deck, I think I've made it. This is Tutor Guardian. Why do I need Tutor Guardian? That card is only useful if I've got the field spell on the field. I can't summon it. It's a level 5. Yeah, I have to end my turn there. That's not good. They've done something badly with the deck. The only damage my opponent's taken is the 2,000 that we paid for Verde Anaconda. Here we go, we've got Mud Golem. This is good. This is progress. So I'll start with Mud Golem. In attack position, and then I get to special summon this card. Hopefully my opponent lets me get this actually through, which is this card. If I can get this through, then I can actually do something. So if I activate this effect, I'm able to pay 500 life points. I can then normal summon my Tutor Guardian by tributing the Mud Golem to normal summon the Tutor Guardian. Following this, I can then activate my Konami technology. So what this does is this let me banish the Mud Golem. I then get to pick the 2 top cards on my deck and decide which one I'm going to add to my hand. I think I will go with this one. And I will then go straight into... I could go into Machinek, but the mana is actually better. So Vimana's effect, I can then, once per turn, negate the activation. So I send these 2 cards to the graveyard. I get to then use that effect. Annoyingly, that then shuts down because of Fog Blade, so I do lose its effect, but I'm actually going to use its other effect to equip. I think I'll just go with Tutor Guardian. So I can then special summon this card and use its effect. And And now my Crystal Bones has been negated. Yeah, not the most ideal way of going about it, but yeah, my opponent has just kind of whitewashed me. He's just completely decimated my life points. I really struggle with dealing with DPE because I don't have the required cards yet. And then DPE returns to the field. And uses its effect to wipe my monster out. Well, that was embarrassing, wasn't it? Let's go and review that deck, shall we? I'll have to edit that deck. That deck is, it's bad. I'm gonna get rid of Tudor Guardian, I'm gonna get rid of this. I am going to get rid of... you know what, I don't think I'm going to even need this card too much. I am going to... is there anything else I want to get rid of? The Moai Carrier is not useful. I think this looks a little bit more specific as a type of deck. So we'll see if this actually makes any type of difference. Most likely not, but you know, you can't but hope and see. So we'll start with a Yugioh. I'm gonna go second again. Yeah, this starting hand looks a lot better. I've ended up with a rank up card, which a little concerning. My opponent's running Dark Magicians. Yeah, I know what that card is likely to be. I'm going to search for a card. Funny thing is, this one thinks I'm special summoning. I'm not actually summoning anything. I'm instead... what am I going to play for? I could either go for a beat stick approach, or I could go for the defensive play. I think defensive play is probably the best thing for me at the moment. So at least if this goes to the graveyard, I can then revive it. I'm just going to attack normally. I am going to set 2 cards. Set this and set this. I don't want to set this at the moment because I don't have an Xyz monster, so it's not worth running. Okay, so my opponent is using their Magician's Souls. This is to special summon a Dark Magician. And obviously with that, it's going to be able to use its effect. Let's see which one you're banishing. So you're banishing that one, so I'm just actually going to just activate it. You're going back to the hand. Even though my card gets banished, I at least got the use out of it. Cribera Stone. Actually, this might be better. This one. So what I'm going to do here, I am most likely I'm going to actually trigger over this card. I am going to special summon something. Or apparently I'm not going to special summon because my opponent has just used they're called by the grave. That's irritating, but at least I know they don't have Eternal Souls. Otherwise they would have used it by now. So that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, great. Right, so it treats itself as Dark Magician, so hopefully they go after my second back row. Please go off the back row. Please go off the back row. Unfortunately it misses timing, so I can't do anything. I am forced to just kind of set this and end my turn. Yeah, that's it. That's all I can do. I can set it and end. Yeah, that is now that's their combo complete. I need something like a Dust Tornado to have made a difference. No, yeah, this is me losing now. Yeah, I've lost this duel because my cards are getting banished. Yeah, there's no way I can recover from that. The next turn I've got Eternal Souls, so they can actually just use that. Yeah, that was there is nothing I can do. I can basically set that and end my turn. There goes my tablet. Trebuchet goes to the banish pile, and I have not enough life points. They're obviously going to then special summon another Dark Magician, banish my final card, and just attack directly. So I get 100 points this one, I think. So I get one of these mission unlocks. So that's normal summoning a monster 3 times. Let's actually go into the deck build here. actually going to just delete these decks, I think. Yeah, that is pretty useless, that one. Chrono Forces, I think I'm actually going to delete everything that isn't the... Right, Armed Red Eyes is... you know what, I'm actually going to see what else, if there's anything else I can really think to putting in this deck. Because the thing is, I've got the staples in here, I've got the basics for what I need. I might try and make, you know what, I'm going to try and make a water deck. I have a water deck already made. I'm just actually, because I've got water attribute monsters and I've got plenty of them, I can make a pretty decent water attribute deck. So water, and I'm going to need, there's 3 types that they kind of rely on. There's the fish, there is the aqua, and there's the sea serpent. These all kind of meld together as a deck. Which way of, what am I actually going to do with this deck? That's kind of the first thing I need to do. So I can make a Mako Tsunami style of deck, which is based on a legendary ocean. I can make a shark bait, make a... What am I going to make? What am I going to make? Right, let's go with a shark deck, actually. You know what, I'm going to go with sharks deck. Is, to me, the easiest thing that I can think of. So, in terms of shark's deck, he had... I'm going to put double panther shark, double eel shark, double depth shark, double gazer shark, double crystal shark. I am going to go into this one. Yes, that's it. Triple of this, triple of this, double of that, double of that, double of this, double of these. What else am I looking for? It's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's the basis of the deck. Then I am going to need the Xyz monsters to go with it. So Xyz wise, I am going to need probably double of this. What else do I need? I need the Xyz monsters. 3 level 6, nope. I have... That's that one. This one. This one. This, this, yeah. I think that's the basis of the deck, and I need some ways of doing something with the deck beyond just destruction style. What if I then just blank that out? And I search for trap, spell and trap. And if I go for water, target 1 water exceeds, nope, nope, that's fine, it's on the field. Those are all just basic waters. This one is add 1 level 7. No. Right, so if I want to make a deck from this, I'm looking at... You know what, I'm gonna send these all in. No, discarding Paleozoic isn't good. I will have those. I will have a Yumiruka. I'm going to have a... You know what, I'm going to have the Aquarium Stadium, the stage. Have this on the field as well. What else do I need? So this is boosting, this is sending, this is just adding a torrential tribute. This is... Yeah, I think that's really all I'm doing with the water attribute stuff. I think everything else just needs to be generic. So I've got this. I need trap cards. I need trap cards. So I'll take for 2 of that, I'll take for 1 of those. Mermails, that's not good. Go for 1 of these. I'll go for... I'm gonna go for 1 of these, strangely enough, just to see how the deck runs. Where is that? So you've got Divine Wrath, I think that's fine, and Jelly Cannon. I think this is just like a shark deck. I'm just gonna save it as that. And we will start hopping into duels. Deck. I'm gonna choose this deck, and I'm going to start by dueling with that deck. Let's see if I can actually get anywhere with this one. So when it gets to a Japanese opponent, those always make me quite nervous because they tend to be a little bit more experienced and they tend to do quite well. They also probably have all of the cards necessary to be successful. Yeah, I have drawn very badly. 4 traps, 1 monster. Okay, so my opponent set a card face down. Set another card face down, so I don't know if this is a burn strategy. Set a 3rd face down and ended their turn. Okay. So I'm going to draw. Double Fin Shark. I'll start with this one. I'll start just with left-hand shark. Right, there can only be 1, so this sucks. I hate that card. I hate these floodgate cards, and that's one of them I hate. Is this, to me, I imagine is going to be an Elblick player. What? Oh, it's a Runic deck. Oh, I hate Runics. Yeah, Runics are a pain. It's a new deck. That was released within the last lot of support. Runics and Labyrinth monsters were all they're basically nightmares to deal with. You know what? I am going to make this as painful for that player as possible. I am going to set 3 cards face down. Well, actually, I'm going to set 2. and I'll end my turn there. Reason I'm doing that is I need discard fodder. I don't think Canadia is going to be useful for this deck, but it's definitely going to be necessary for me to have Divine Wrath and Ring of Destruction. Not for any other reason, but Ring of Destruction is actually probably less useful than, I'm going to say, Divine Wrath. When it gets to the end phase, I'm just going to get rid of this card. Right, so this one is target. Next turn, that monster would be blah blah blah. So this is sending my cards. Yeah, I have lost 3 cards. I've lost Panther Shark, Metamorph, and the worst of them to lose is this one, actually, Dynamiscus. Because that would let me just banish anything. And I really need that. There can only be one to be banished. That card needs to go. Right, so my target one spell trap card they control. Right, that's irritating because there's nothing I can actually do. They've destroyed the one that I can't actually do anything with because it's not activated in response to a monster effect. And I've lost another 4 cards in, which is a just I've lost Gazer Shark, I've lost Ice Knight, Abyss Soldier, and my Saber Shark. So Saber Shark could have actually just increased this monster's level. Instead, I'm now kind of waiting and hoping. Right. That's it. I need to do something now. So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to get rid of that stupid fusion monster that they've got. That's the first thing I'm going to do. They are going to get rid of that. So the card they lost is another there can only be one, so that is not useful at the moment. The Buzzsaw Shark would be great, but I can't do anything. I can only set the card, so I am best just maybe setting that card and just going into the battle phase. But not being able to establish a board is where I'm quite concerned. I might need a few more spell and trap destruction cards in this deck to make it suitable. I think I've got a basic understanding of this deck, it's just I don't have the cards necessary to be useful at the moment. And this deck is just getting on my nerves. This one I find it really difficult to... they're obviously going to special summon a brilliant monster from the extra deck as part of the effect. Okay, so I have lost what? I've lost. Great, I've lost the Saber Shark, and I've lost the Crystal Shark. I've lost the Right Hand Shark. I've lost Jelly Cannon, and I've lost a second Saber Shark. So I'm just literally watching my deck just fall to pieces in front of me. And because they're banished, it's not like I can recover these cards. And then they draw into the field spell. This is the one that is a pain to deal with because it recovers all of their cards. They're able with my... Okay, so that's another 4 cards. I've lost Divine Wrath, my Paleozoic Hallucigenia, the Buzzsaw Shark, and I've lost the left-hander shark. I already lost both my right-hand sharks, and I've got my other left-hand shark on the field. This is the card that's stopping me from doing anything. they've then banished another one of my cards. This card, Sea Lord's Amulet, it's useful for protecting my water monsters from being destroyed by card effects. And I have now a runic tip that's just kind of ruined my day. And then they've gone into this one. Perfect. I've got a Dust Tornado. Finally, I've got something that I can actually use. Something that's actually going to be necessary for me to actually do anything in this duel. So ironically, the number of cards they banished has actually helped me out slightly. Not much, but it's given me some hope. So they've got rid of that card, and I know it's going to just destroy my left-hand shark. Because it's the only card I've got on the field, but I'd rather do that. Right, so I've got Dust Tornado now. I'm going to stick with Dust Tornado. I'm not going to bother with anything else until I've actually cleared that card. That is the card that's stopping me from doing anything. Because all of my monsters are the same type. They're all fish monsters. It'd be different if I was running Sea Serpent, Aqua and fish types. But most of my cards are, you know, fish. Oh no. Great. I've just... Okay, so this is special something a runic monster from the Etch deck. That's fine. That's not an issue for me. I thought for some reason it was the one that just destroys my back row. Because I need to at least be able to respond during my turn. Well, during my opponent's turn with the Dust Tornado. Okay, so... Right. So my opponent's gone into their 3 cards. I need to be able to activate this Dust Tornado. I need to respond now. Okay, so they've got a Terraforming. I don't care about Terraforming, that's not the card that I'm bothered with. It's this one that I hate. There's absolutely nothing I can do. I'm down to 23 cards in my deck in total. I have 10 extra monsters, which is what I had to begin with. And 15 of my cards are in the banished pile, which I can't recover, and 5 in the graveyard, which are not useful to recover. Let's try summoning the Buzzsaw Shark, shall we? I'm just going to go straight into the back phase. I don't think it's going to land. I think I think I'm going to destroy my monster before I actually get to use anything or actually inflict any damage. Yeah, here we go. So it banishes, it negates my monster's effect. It's not even using its effect anyway, but I think more so the point is it's just going to get rid of the cards from my extra deck. Well, from my main deck. And there goes another Gazer Shark, my Depth Shark, and my Double Fin Shark. I'm going to continue the attack anyway, so at least I get rid of that card. There's nothing much I can actually do. I know it just returns the extra deck, so it is what it is. I can't do anything else other than I've probably just set down the camp. So they're going to add a specific runic card and they're going to discard the top card of my deck, which happens to be a Panther Shark, I believe. Is that Panther or Eagle? Yeah, that's Panther Shark. I'm losing my back row, plus another couple cards. Right, so I have lost in this one. I have lost Aquarium Stage, Eagle Shark, Right Hand Shark. Okay, so I'm going to lose 3 cards from the top of my deck here by my opponent negating my Buzzsaw Shark's effect. And in that I have lost... what have I lost? Ice Knight, Torrential Tribute, and Saber Shark. I am now down to 11 cards. So essentially, depending on what my opponent does... Okay, so they're using that effect again, I'm going to lose 3 more cards. And in this one I have lost my Silent Angler, my Eagle Shark, and my Yunoruka. And they've replaced their runic field spells for a second one because I'm sure they want to use its effect again. And they've basically set everything. What the... why do you want to summon that? So they've drawn into 3 additional cards, that's fine. Card of Demise, it's not really going to change the game state. This card is only going to banish 1 card. So that's my Silent Angler out. And they're actually doing this again. They're actually bringing a 3rd runic fountain. And then setting everything else. So, right, so this goes back to the hand, and I think they have to discard everything. Okay, so the Autumn Man, they get that card back. I've drawn into Saber Shark, that's not going to help. Thing is, that's, oh, you know what, that's an Aqua. I can do something with that one, actually. With there can only be one on the field. But is it too late? My opponent has just gotten rid of my Buzzsaw Shark again, and they're just recovering those cards. So I'll do the 1600 points of damage, and then I have to end my turn there. Potentially next turn, if I can get the Abyss Soldier out, I can then get rid of this. Well, at least send it to the hand. And then get one of my boss monsters out. I don't know what I'd go for. Probably having to go with Stuff Kragan. I don't think this one is going to help. Yeah, there you go. I've lost all my hand, so I was defeated by deck out. Nice. Oh, that was painful, wasn't it? I'm going to go second in this case. So in this case I've drawn, like the last case I had all traps and one monster, this case I've got all monsters and nothing else. It's fine, I think. I think I'm gonna go big on this one, I think. So I'll start off with Saber Shark. With a Buzzsaw Shark. Use its effect. Shooting itself. I am going to bring out this one. I'm going to then... Should I special summon this? I special summon this. In attack position. And I'm going to use this effect. I'm going to cut this one down to size. And I'm going to set... put it in defense mode. And then let's see what we can do. Let's start with the level 5. so I'm going to start by attacking, I think. Probably the best thing to do. So my opponent has a masked hero style of deck. Good thing about this is I'm able to just detach 2 cards and actually just equip something onto this. I'm going to main phase 2. I will set this card and I will end my turn. Right, so I can understand why they're doing this. Blaze Man is just going to get a poly to their hand, so that's fine. I'm not going to trigger off the effect until actually he has summoned something. I just don't see the point. There we go. Once the polarization's used, then I will do what's necessary. Okay, so he is fusing. What are you fusing? Because when I use this effect, I can just attach 2 cards, and I can attach one other face-up monster on the field to this card as material. Absolute zero. That's really good. You think Absolute Zero is going to actually help you, but by detaching these 2 cards, I'm able to just attach. So I'll attach Sharp Knight, and I will attach your monster as well. So my opponent is using Harpy's Feather Duster. That's going to get rid of my Taunting Tribute. And they end their turn. So that's fine. That's not an issue. I'm going to just draw. I'm going to try and make this as quick and easy as possible. So first thing is first. Right, so any graveyard effect. This can be summoned from the graveyard, but I actually just want to... You can normal summon 1 additional water monster, so that's the effect I'm going to use. I am going to be a little bit greedy here. I'm going to then normal summon this one. I am then going to use its effect to increase the level of this one to a level 4. Now, the reason I'm doing that is so I can actually get both effects of the monster. So the first effect I'm going to actually go into just this one. I'm going to use this monster, and I am going to use this monster. So it's going to be protected from both card effects and from battle, from being destroyed. Do I want to do anything else? Do I want to adjust levels, or do it? No, you know what, I'm just going to attack. Well, my opponent just gave up. I would have been able to have just maybe defeated them in that turn, or at least do a lot of damage from that. So that's what happens if things go well for the deck. The Chaosic Seas, I'm missing So until I get those particularly, the deck isn't going to be at its best. Okay, so here I've got a couple of cards which are quite good. Okay, so my opponent is running trading. That's not for a Blue Eyes deck, it's for a... Yeah, it's a Blacklisted Soldier deck, I can tell because there's Envoy of Chaos as well. So you have Beginning Night. This is some sort of hybrid Blackluster slash Danger deck, I think. So we've got Danger Nessie. Okay, so I'm going to be able to next turn go into a rank 5 monster. Unfortunately, I only have the rank 5 as the one that's currently there. I'm going to need to review the extra deck, because I think I could be able to get into something a bit more than that. Okay, so you're going into this, that's fine. You know what, I can still go to rank 5, so it's not really an issue for me. If my opponent just ends their turn out, yeah, that's perfect. I've got the cards necessary to go into my first monster, so that's perfect. That's just going to support... what is that doing? Oh, that's just recovering itself. Okay, so that's to boost this to 4,500 attack. What's that doing? Oh, that's banishing to search for another card. Okay. Right, so I have... The thing is, I can actually just normal summon this. But I can also normal summon this. The problem with normal summon this card is that I can't do anything with it. You know what? I'm just gonna normal summon this anyway, because it doubles its attack during my opponent's turn, so that's. It's unfortunate I can't just double summon, but it is what it is. Why are you increasing the attack of that monster? I didn't attack into it, but fine. I'm going to set these two just to be safe, and then I think that is my turn ended. So with its effect, it's going to just banish and recover itself. Perfectly fine, I don't mind, you know. You do what's... Okay, so I'm trying to get into the specific cards. That. Yeah, and my shark gets its attack bonus doubled by the way. Okay, so my opponent has that out. And they're going to use their danger monster. Okay, so hopefully it doesn't go the right way they want to. Good, that actually discarded a card that would have been a concern for me. This is a ritual card for him. That would have been a pain to just manage. And they have just lost another ritual card. I know Danger Big Pet can do a lot, but at this point it can't do much. Come on, just go into the battle phase. Just go into your battle phase, and then I will be absolutely happy. don't know what the opponent's kind of waiting on. I mean, I have cards face down. If they do anything, then I will just beat over those cards. If they don't do anything, I will still absorb those cards. Okay, so you're going to Nightmare Phoenix. Which one are you going into? Which one are you going to destroy? Come on, go for the middle. Perfect. That's actually the card I wanted you to go after. So I'm going to half your game to Bigfoot. Is a problem. That's going after my back row, isn't it? No, it's actually going after my depth chart. That was a mistake. You should not have gone for that card. This is the card you should have gone for. The Jelly Cannon is going straight after your card. Unfortunately, it can't target your Blackluster Soldier, so there's that as a cost. But you know, it's surface. Don't know why I can't type that. If this card was linked, I'm using a level 7 or higher monster as material. So yeah, it was used as part of the cost on it. So unfortunately, I can't target it. So I'm going to just summon this one and just use its effect just to search out the other one. It'll thin my deck out, but the problem is I just can't summon again, otherwise if I could summon another time... this problem is it's level 3, I can't do anything with that level. I could have brought that out as a level, as another level, it would have made more sense for me, but it is what it is. Yeah, I think I've definitely lost this duel. It's going to go into a danger card. Yikes. I've lost. Oh, that was definitely interesting. Let's see what we can get now. So, the deck doesn't seem to be too bad. I just need the other components. I do need some of the stronger rank monsters. I need the Exceeds monsters. I'm still a little bit incomplete from Shark's deck. I don't have the Chaos version of that card. I'm also missing the Baron Emperor card, the Chaos number 101. Otherwise, I would at least be able to do something. This one seems balanced. There's the right. So I'm gonna actually go into the. I think I'll go into bringing out the right-hand shark. It's my opponent playing. Okay, so your hand size limit becomes 7. Is there a reason for that? Are you needing to draw until you have 7 cards in your hand? I'm familiar with that card, it's just not a very usable one, it's just not viable as a strategy. Okay, so they're setting 1 card face down. What is that? Oh, it's one of these self-destructing decks, I think. Yeah, I think it's one of these decks, these troll decks, where they just kind of lose on purpose. So I think this one is definitely a win in the bag. I mean, you don't summon Giant Kozaki really ever. That's not a card you have. So Eagle Shark, right, so there's no point in having an Eagle Shark. So I'm going to go into this. Yeah, it's one of those self-destruction decks because this Destruction of Destiny is not used unless you are really wanting to lose. So I just use Glacial's effect, the Shark's effect. I'm going to special summon into, you know what, I can actually just special summon into this one. This is the Saber Shark. Then I can just go into basically just attack directly to win and close out the game. So we won that one. I think final win, even if it's just a basic win. I'll just claim for these two. We've ended up with 178 gems. I'd like to say thank you guys for anyone who has managed to watch and support Yugioh. If you do like my content, I have over 2,000 videos on the Yugioh channel, mostly with Yu-Gi-Oh content, so you can check those out if you enjoy it. Make sure to comment, it really helps to support the channel, and any shares I'd be grateful for if you also look to subscribing. Until next time, I will see you guys later, and thank you very much.